All right, we're back. Look, Mum, I'm hustling. We're back in the house. We actually missed last week due to technical difficulties. I'm having word difficulties this morning, actually, as well. So everything's going swimmingly. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing well.
And welcome back to the house.
Yeah, well, thank you. I always enjoy coming back to the home that we live in.
Yep.
Yeah. Our podcast studio is actually in our house at the moment, even though it looks super fancy.
Say. Because we can really afford an external studio somewhere.
Maybe that will be the dream one day, have a studio set up.
Yep.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to turn this room into 2 studios to do 2 pods. And we're like, no, we just don't have the mental capacity or stamina or fortitude to do 2 different podcasts in the same room. And one's hard enough as it is. As you can tell, but we missed last week, unfortunately. So apologies to anyone that's a fan and a regular of the show. But we're back now.
Yeah.
Hopefully the recording doesn't screw up like last week.
No, we always seem to have something. But hey, we're good at pivoting. I mean, that's our style, right? When you get thrown at things, you've got to learn how to, I guess, run with the punches and figure out how you can.
Run with the punches. Run away from the punches or roll with the punches?
Roll with the punches. Even I'm getting my words messed up. But yeah, that's the whole thing, right? So when things don't go according to plan, you need to have that mental sort of aptitude to be able to.
Jesus, we should just do a podcast about learning the English language because we're getting worse by the week. This is supposed to be a skill tester for us to develop our communication English skills, work through those barriers, and we're failing miserably in the first 2 minutes. That's fine. We're here. We're here to get better. Yeah.
Usually we have coffee, but we've got a bit of a gin. This time around, I've only had 1 sip, so I'm definitely not slurring my words because of the gin.
Right. So it's not for the gin. It's just pure, just the punches that you're rolling with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rolling with the punches. Yeah. It's like when you have those moments that do happen though, like what is something how would you pivot in a scenario?
Give me a scenario. Let's role play a bit here. Also, get this closer because I want to hear your sexy voice.
Oh, thank you.
What are we just going to role play then, are we?
Yeah, why not? Let's do a bit of improv as all the great comedian podcasts do.
So what do I do? Tell me what to do.
All right, so it's a Monday morning.
It's not going to go well, but yeah.
Yeah, Monday morning. It's usually, as most couples or most like home business owners or whatever is, like Monday's like a really, really busy day. So just say Ozpost is down and you need to get a whole bunch of packages out, but you can't really do it. So what would you do in that scenario?
This is a horrible, good example for us because we know what we're talking about. But for the international listeners, Ozpost is our postal USPS service, I guess.
Yeah.
What would I do if the system was down and I couldn't do the daily postage? Probably have another coffee and then sit on Instagram for an hour until someone else is like, it's down. Now it's fixed, and just wait. I probably wouldn't do any more work. I'd just roll with the punches and write it out.
Yeah.
So this is boring. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, that's like what you can do. Like when you have those moments, you just really need to be able to, I guess, pivot into something else. But, this week has been, as always, like a full-on week, and Archie's out with a dog walker, which is really exciting. I was actually walking Archie yesterday and this lovely old gentleman walked past me and just started to stop and start talking. I can't remember the last time I've had one of those random interactions with humans in general, and
that's a loud plane.
It is a loud plane, going past. It's not really out
first
this area.
First time you had a human interaction?
No, not first time on the street. It's super rare that someone would stop you and just start having a conversation, right? Because everything's through your phone, through a screen, or it's just not forced through a work environment, but that's the people that you sort of hang around on a daily basis. But how many people just stop and have a chat with a random stranger?
What was his name?
I didn't get his name, actually. I should have gotten his name.
What was was the conversation purely about dogs?
It was a little bit.
Surface level.
But he was actually really, really sweet. So he's just talking about just that whole thing, like no one, looks each other in the eyes when they're walking past. They don't really do that smile anymore. He was just talking about how, people are just scared to talk to each other. And he was just saying how beautiful dogs are, and he's really lucky to have one because it keeps him company.
Because dogs never change, but humans are always changing.
Exactly. And that was one of his things, sometimes humans can disappoint you or things like that. But
tell me about it.
But you have dogs and they're always just happy to see you and everything. It was just a really nice random interaction with a lovely older gentleman. I don't think he was really expecting a young female to stop and talk to him as well, which is a bit rare in this day and age.
So did you have the AirPods in?
I did have the AirPods in.
So he just didn't even acknowledge that you wanted your privacy.
Well, it's not that I really want the privacy. I'm happy for a chat, I realise. I don't mind having that small interaction with another human being or an older gentleman because if
Me, on the other hand, dread it.
Dread it, I know.
Not really. I
yeah.
just prefer to, I work from home by myself 7 days a week.
You
So
do.
I don't get that much human interaction anyway. But the last thing I want to do is have small talk about a dog to a passerby. I mean, if that's what happens, that's what happens. But it's not like something I'm craving or looking forward to by any means.
But most people can't resist Archie, though. That's what our dog is called. So obviously he's very adorable. For those that may have seen a picture here or there. But every time someone or he stops, he'll just like sit next to them and then eventually just roll onto his back and for some pats. So everybody just falls in love with him and starts chatting about how much of a good dog he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dogs are cool. Dogs are very cool. Unconditional love.
Mhm.
Like you can't really say that much for humans.
No.
As much as I love you, it's not unconditional.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, we get on each other's nerves sometimes. Dogs, it's like, they're frustrating, but they always give you the unconditional love back.
Mhm.
So, yeah, humans are tricky species to navigate.
Yeah, 100%. Talking about dogs, I was going to show this article a little bit later. It was one of the hustlers, but I've got another one.
I was straight into the hustle news, yep.
No, just like a hustle one. There should be one. It should have like Snoop Dogg in the title. So just underneath the hustlers, it's a billboard.
Okay, I'm going to give you props on your segue because usually they need some work, but
That was very lucky.
I'll go with the Snoop Dogg transition for sure.
So this article, I think, is a little bit older. But while I was looking, and it just came across it. So Snoop Dogg has put up tiny billboards for dogs, which is not something I thought I would write today is the title of this article. Being Snoop Dogg, I am not surprised that he would think of something like this left field because he's always such just different with his creativeness, if that makes sense. Like, he's always thinking about something a little bit different, how to set himself apart.
Well, Snoop Dogg's one of those guys that it's multi-generational. I think our parents wouldn't necessarily know his songs, but they would know who he is as a person. They could pick him out of a lineup if that came to be. But yeah, it's like he probably spans 3 generations, I would say, in terms of the amount of people that know him. And he's just always doing ads. He did ads for Menulog.
That's right.
Does them for everything. He's always been, up to date with relevancy in terms of social media and the happenings in the world. But yeah, this is the first for me. This is the first time I've heard it. So he put up mini billboards, so at like dog eye level.
Yeah, dog eye level, to advertise a new product, which I thought was really interesting.
All right, well, roll me through it.
Yeah.
So you got something in Sydney.
Oh, I didn't even realize there was something in
All right,
Sydney.
let's read the article because people may only be listening. So for those that are listening, you can see the visual on Spotify and YouTube, and we'll give you a bit more clarity so we're not just mumbling and bumbling through the topic or the segment.
Do you want me to read this one out?
If you want to.
Yeah.
Do you want it enlarged or?
No, I can read it from here. That's all right. So what do these billboards even mean? So it's to promote Snoop Dogg's second collab with Australian wine creator 19 Crimes. That's a really cool name, actually. To hype up his new wine called Cali Rose. Rosé, sorry. Yeah. He's a Californian rapper. Snoop Dogg? Yeah, so that sort of makes sense why he's promoting the Cali Rose. So
BC.
Yeah. Snoop is engaging what's being called dog-vertising by putting up these tiny dog-sized billboards around parks that are dog-friendly. As a dog owner, so this author, as a dog owner, they get let down by how many dog parks refuse dogs, to pee on trees and all that kind of stuff. So I thought this was really, really interesting.
So there's signs to advertise the wine at dog level, and they're designed to be peed on?
I think so.
Because I always, when I take Archie for a walk, if he's trying to pee on someone's letterbox or something and it's like, this person has a nice letterbox, I feel kind of bad, I'll wait to the next poll or something. So I can see why we'd need better spots to pee, like designated pee areas basically for dogs.
Exactly. Because as soon as, and a lot of dog owners would know, as soon as one dog pees somewhere, they do a bit of a circle and a train and just, they all start marking their territory or giving off their scent to let them know that they're chill and you can hang out with me.
So the billboards have been hidden around parks in Sydney and Melbourne. So have your dog get that Snoop Dogg scent from an original 1999 CD. So there's got smells on it. Interesting. Because that top picture there looks like photoshopped.
It does.
So there's a bunch in Sydney, a bunch in Melbourne.
A whole bunch in different dog parks.
Where's the party at, dog?
Where's the party?
Interesting. So it's basically just a real estate sign at dog eye level, right?
Yeah, but that's the first time I've ever seen, I guess, this kind of like advertising, which I thought was like really interesting. Who would think to make tiny billboards?
But think about the linkage. What's the product he's selling and who's he appealing to? Just dog owners. So if you don't own a dog, you're not going to see the ads.
No, you wouldn't see the ads. But hey, maybe someone who has a dog might be a little bit on the lonely side. So they might need a little bit of a rosé to cheer them up on a Friday night after they've gone to the dog park.
I don't know how productive or how much of a result this is going to show, because it's an interesting marketing plan. Like someone writes an article, you're interested, it's an interesting topic, awesome, but I don't know if the links or the dots will be linked or connected together. For example, like you have to own a dog, be walking your dog, like rosé, and like get a giggle because you like Snoop Dogg to some degree.
Yeah.
It's a fine line to get that customer down the funnel to actually buy the wine. But interesting topic. Nice segue into the dog article.
Thank you.
I think we've tried 19 crumbs before.
Yeah,
maybe a Pinot.
Yeah, it's a really interesting name, but it sort of makes sense because he's Snoop Dogg and loves dogs. But maybe they were trying to create, you know how a lot of advertisers try to create these viral moments to really, I guess, push forward their product or things like that. And this is pretty much the only article that I really saw of it. So I don't think it hit as a viral moment as they were hoping to.
Right.
Because Snoop Dogg loves his viral moments.
It's also cost to run the campaign versus the result. So like these I think it says the wines are $18 each, right? How many of these signs are there? 50?
Yeah.
Probably costs $20 to make.
Yeah, it wouldn't cost much.
$1,000, you're going to get your return in sales. So interesting little story, but hasn't hit the mainstream news.
No.
Probably not worth it though.
No.
It's worth it for the Look Mum pod.
It is, yeah, for hustlers out there, because Snoop is like one of those OG hustlers.
There's a lot to be learnt from like how he advertises and how he just markets himself. Like he used to be such a gangster. Like he was on trial back in the day for like murder charges and stuff. He has a song called Murder Was the Case, or Is the Case. I forget what the actual title is. But he's been in gangs for back in the day. He was when like he was in with Dre and Tupac, Death Row sort of era. Mm-hmm. But for the last 15, 20 years, he's sort of done so much stuff. He has songs with Katy Perry, Pharrell, everyone. He's done songs with pretty much everyone. He's done ads for everyone. So timeless Snoop. It's going to be a sad day when the old Snoop Dogg passes away.
How old is Snoop?
Interesting. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
We can guess. I'm going to say
like 58.
So what are we, 2022, in like the late 90s, he was probably like late teens, early 20s, probably like 55-ish, maybe 60.
Yeah.
51.
Oh, wow. And like, that's not bad coming from, I guess, a history of like gangster and violence and things like that. And now he's like literally a household name, but not in a negative way. People think of Snoop Dogg and it puts like a smile on your face in a way. Maybe it was his relationship with Martha Stewart or things like that that really helped his image.
More of like turned into like more of a family.
Like a family-friendly thing, yeah.
Even though Martha Stewart's probably done more jail time than him.
Well, she's pretty cool. There was another Hustler article with her making recycled furniture, but that's not super interesting.
Martha Stewart making recycled furniture.
Yeah, and I had another link in there. I think because I was just looking up like hustlers and things that people were doing, her one popped up as well, maybe because, you know, how their names are quite linked on the internet anyway. So when you search him, stuff about her will come up as well. But yeah, she just, now she's got a new business where she's making furniture out of recycled plastics.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Out of recycled plastics?
Yes, yeah.
What kind of furniture? Is it worth pulling up or is it a boring article?
I just saw it quickly. Right. Yeah. So you can pull it up if you want to. Yeah.
I mean, Martha Stewart, it's just not our demo.
No, it's not.
Snoop's our demo.
Yeah, Snoop's our demo. But I think because of Snoop and even because of Martha Stewart, they've both helped their audience cross over a little bit as well. And I think they've helped, like, made Martha Stewart a little bit more cool. And
but I don't know if Martha
Snoop
Stewart mum fans are like listening to Snoop per se.
Well, maybe the kids are.
The kids?
Yeah, so they could just be watching. So the mum's enjoying watching Martha Stewart, right? And the kids are enjoying watching Snoop Dogg cooking together. So it's a bit for everybody.
I don't know if Snoop really cooks though. I think he just like stands back and watches someone else do it, then just reaps the benefit. Yeah, smokes and reaps the benefits.
Yeah.
Reefers the benefits, perhaps.
Nice.
We're bad with the puns today.
Yeah, we're trying to make it more interesting for you all.
The segue was good though.
Thank you.
The segue was good.
Yeah.
Thank you for the gin, by the way.
Oh, welcome. Thank you.
Cheers.
Do you love a good gin? A little sip.
Probably get demonetized from our 100 views.
No. You need to be a little bit more to have monetization.
So I guess like the main article that we were going to touch on today, or the main topic sort of circulating in the worldwide web this week would be Elon Musk's
finally bought Twitter.
Finally bought Twitter.
It's been a roller coaster. I was reading some articles throughout the week, and just the CEOs and CFOs have just had like a real whirlwind over the last couple of months, just trying to go back and forth with Elon. I haven't read too much into it. Have you read a whole bunch yet at all?
There's a lot to take in because he initially made that bid, I want to say like 6 months ago. I think we were even still doing the episodes before our sort of hiatus on the pod here, and we talked about it previously. But I think he made a bid. I'm not sure how it works because it's such a gigantic company and so many billions of dollars at play. I think he made a bid and they must have accepted it, and he had to go through the courts because he was kind of umming and ahhing about whether to actually proceed with the transaction or not. And the courts basically had to step in, from what I'm aware of, to say, you know, you have the X amount of time to like do this decision, like you're committed to buying it. But before we get into that, I thought we'd play a little game.
Oh.
So remember how we used to listen to Reply All the time?
Yeah,
Gimlet. I think it's a Gimlet. Haven't listened to it in a while. So remember the segment Yes, Yes, No?
Yeah.
Do you want to give it a rundown for the listeners? And I'm going to play it with you.
Oh, far out.
You don't remember? If not, then not. You don't have to pretend to remember things all the
No,
time.
like I remember the game, but I can't remember the rules. Like I remember the yes, no.
So yes, yes, no. There's basically, they had Reply All by Gimlet Media was essentially, I don't even know if it's still around. It probably is.
They're OG as well.
Essentially, we'll do a topic about a weird internet subculture every week, like a weird Reddit subreddit, or just a little community online, and like the weird going-ons within that community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was one of their producers was sort of a guy that would help them run the show, but was never really savvy with the news or up to date with what was going on in socials. So they used to play a game called Yes, Yes, No, where they'd show a bunch of memes and stuff, and you have to like tell him if he understood what was going on or not.
Gotcha.
So it's just like a guessing game.
Yeah, no, I remember now.
So
yeah.
I think I'm just going to call it Say It Like You Meme It.
Oh, I love that.
Hopefully I can find another one for next week.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I thought it was interesting, little game to play.
Yeah, I love that.
Hopefully you don't get it straight away. So you're going to pull up the big screen here.
Oh, I am very good at guessing stuff. So
you actually are. So hang on.
What the hell?
All right. So this is a meme going around on the internet.
I've seen a few of these, but not this one. Sorry.
Can you let me set it up? You're going to ruin the game for the people. So right now, if you're listening, jump onto Spotify, jump onto YouTube. You play along at home. I don't know. Should we give you guesses, or you just keep riffing and I can tell you closer, hotter or cold? I don't know how we're going to play this. This is basically a meme from the internet. It's kind of two memes wrapped into one regarding what we're going to talk about.
Right.
So go for it. So I'll give a little visual depiction, perhaps. So it is a Halloween costume bag, plastic bag by Spirit Costumes,
mm-hmm.
and it has a person on there called Rahul Ligma and his contents of a box. So it comes with cardboard box, Michelle Obama book, a built-in joke and punchline, and epic all-time troll.
Wow.
So what are the two memes pointing towards? So like what's going on in this image?
All right. So because Twitter was like the last thing we left off, I have a feeling it's something to do with potentially Elon Musk taking over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
The epic all-time troll. Sorry, can I jump around?
So I wouldn't worry about what it comes with. That's just like part of the meme. It's more the packaging and the character.
Yeah. But like I just wanted to, so like the built-in joke and a punchline, I feel like that's referencing, I haven't seen the image, but did Elon walk into Twitter with a kitchen sink?
He did. Okay. Maybe we can find that clip. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen it, but I just kept hearing everybody talk about that
he's clever with his trolls.
He's very...
But they also they burn out real quick. They're not like long-term. They're like...
Very quick. Yeah.
Momentary.
Mm-hmm. Very quick viral moments. I can't believe everything but the kitchen sink, and he comes in with the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Someone who's worth like billions and billions of dollars has the time or just the sense of humor to be able to do something like that, I think is actually quite hilarious. We have a whole bunch of people who might be, in a similar position to him at a different company, and they're just like super serious and wouldn't even like bother or not even waste their time or even just think about doing something like that.
So we have Elon walking into I'll play it back, Twitter headquarters with a kitchen sink. So there's literally no reason for him to be walking into the office with a sink other than to validate the post that he's going to put on Twitter about let that sink in.
Yeah.
Like it's just silly. It's fun, it's silly. Entering Twitter headquarters, let that sink in. and then literally would have to get rid of the sink straight after that, right?
Yeah.
Just silly games. I love it though. I love it.
Yeah, like it just creates it more interesting. All right, so built-in joke and a punchline. So I feel like that's that.
No, that's got no.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't worry about the dot points there.
Okay. Is Raul Ligma referencing a certain person?
Fictional person.
Okay. Why is a cardboard box? I feel like it's just something to do with like the CEO and the CFO getting fired.
You're getting close.
Because like I know I was reading, so the CFO and the CEO got fired, but they had golden parachutes that helped them out.
Okay, and I haven't heard this story.
Oh, I'll tell that a little bit more about later on. Yeah, I actually have no idea. He's wearing, I feel like they're Cortezes.
So first of all, it's been Halloween, right?
Yes, it has.
Do you know what the Spirit Halloween meme is?
I've seen, with that particular one, I've just seen like just random like everyday sort of costumes and stuff. So I've seen the meme go around and there's just like, I can't remember what they were, but there's a whole bunch of different like meme style costumes.
Yeah, so basically, I'll give you the first breakdown, right? So Spirit Halloween costume meme. So basically, they're blowing up right now because they've just put a blank sort of packaging for people to put their own memes on.
So Spirit is actually a real
It's a real company, I believe.
And they've done this to create a viral moment.
A bit of hype. And then people are just going around and, putting on their own spins on it.
Oh my God, old hater. Was it old hater DJ?
Which one?
The Scroll Up was like one of the first ones. It just reminds me of a punk kid or something like that.
Mosh kid. Yeah. Old hater DJ, weekly Facebook rant about back in the day, hatred of all new music. So it's sort of like, here's the character and here's the tropes that come along with the character, right? Yeah. So that is one half of the meme, just to break it down for you. So that's what it is. That's setting up the stage for what it is. But who is this person? Can you guess? What does the name tell you?
Don't know. Is the CEO's first name Raul?
No.
Cardboard box. I just feel like Elon's taken over and they're just getting kicked out now.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're very, very close.
So Elon's taken over. They're getting kicked out or voted out. Michelle Obama's book. So random.
So those contents are in his box.
Gotcha. Well, Michelle Obama's book is apparently phenomenal, if anyone wants to read it.
So what does traditional media try and do with Elon Musk? They always try and roll it back or pinpoint some bad or discrepancy or something bad going on in his business. They want to shoot him down.
Bring him down a couple
of notches, right?
Yeah.
So the first day he came in, took over, took the sink in. What was everyone worried about?
Oh, everyone was probably worried about getting fired.
Okay.
Yes.
So before anyone got fired, what would be the ultimate troll?
Saying people are going to be getting fired? Is the only other thing I can
Or
think
just
of?
pretending you're being fired.
Right.
So what happened is, I'll see if I can pull it up a bit more of a explanatory thing. I'm just going to have to explain these memes to you, apparently.
I don't know that one. I'm usually pretty good at this, but this is actually really hard.
All right. So let's break it down. We don't deserve him. Rahul Ligma, meaning explained as pranksters, posing as fired Twitter employees, spark hilarious responses.
Oh, does he even work for Twitter?
No.
Oh, he's just pretending.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So it gets way, way better.
Okay.
So him and his friend, who I think they're just like low-level comedians,
Gotcha.
realized there was going to be a bunch of hype, a bunch of reporters hanging out at the bottom of the building on the street, and then took it upon themselves to make a meme out of themselves and to like play a joke on mainstream media. And it worked really well.
Wow. So they're just really playing into that, not fake news part, but just really relying on that media wanting the drama.
Doing what Elon would do, right?
Yeah. He probably loves this.
Yes. So the Rahul Ligma meme has caught everyone's attention on social media, including Elon Musk. A rumor quickly spread about employees being fired. So no one was fired. This is like literally day one.
Yeah.
Although the new owner of the app did fire top executives, the internet's claim of Musk firing employees was not entirely true, making the most of the situation. Two men using fictitious names, Rahul Ligma and Daniel Johnson, pretended to be laid off Twitter.
That is so good.
Pretended to be laid off Twitter employees, sorry. But look at their last names.
Ligma Johnson. Ligma Johnson, is that another word for like penis?
Ligma dick.
Oh, Oh, is it Ligma? Oh my god!
Right. They quickly became internet sensations. Both of them became so popular that Elon Musk was unable to refrain from tweeting about them. Ligma Johnson had it coming.
Oh, and even got the eggplant and everything.
So they basically stood out the front with their boxes. The Michelle Obama book was just a bit of a troll, as if they were like kind of like woke employees that were getting fired.
Yep.
Like
because the Obamas are woke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they got fully interviewed, and I forget what magazine or newspaper wrote about them, but someone reported on it legitimately and was like made a whole scene on Twitter about interviewed them and everything. There's videos of them being interviewed, and basically wrote a whole article about, oh my God, he's firing people immediately, but they just got trolled hardcore. First of all, like it's just being them, but then the names, they reported their names in the article. And then the person that was writing the initial article on Twitter, the actual journalist, has more or less refused to like admit that like it's a joke. So they wrote a whole article about it. Then like their follow-up one was like, apparently there's words going around that this is actually a prank. We're yet to determine that. We're still investigating. It's like, it's so clear that you guys got trolled so hard, right?
Someone did not fact check, hey.
No, and just the names. So we'll play it, see if this is a video here. It's just the biggest troll. And it's just like two funny memes mixed into one, right? It's just silly.
So good. So good.
So here he is at Market Square, I'm guessing probably New York or something, with a bunch of reporters. And it's just they got trolled so hard. It was amazing.
I love how they look like really sad and just like really playing into it as well.
But that was kind of the most exciting memeable moment. So we'll roll back to the initial thing, right? Mm-hmm. Halloween costume meme, perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
And then throw him on here, Rahul Ligma. I thought that was a fun game to play. You didn't do too well at it.
No.
I enjoyed explaining it.
Thank you.
But that was what I had to offer. So that was sort of to set the precedent, or the topic of Twitter and everything that's going on and the changes they're making, and potentially firing. I think they're potentially firing up to like 50% of employees in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read an article earlier today, and it was just talking about how apparently some of them will receive an email over the weekend, whether they're going to be still employed or not still employed.
So that's to cut costs.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the CEO and CFO have been terminated as well. But as I was reading into it, so a lot of these big companies and big corporations will have a clause in their contract. And I was looking into it. So it's either, I'll probably never experience this in a day in my life, but there's one called Golden Parachute and the Golden Handshake.
Right, so, explain that, because I had not heard of that.
No, so the Golden Parachute is a clause that's in a contract. So if there is a big merger or a takeover and that results in their own termination, they get money.
Yep.
So I think
Golden Parachute, safe landing, you're going to be okay.
Exactly. Yep. So with that one there, so you get, I think one got like 23 million and the other one got like 28 million. Yeah. I don't know if I have an article of that one, but it's pretty crazy. And then as I was looking into it, because I had no idea what this term was, like Golden Parachute. So as I was looking into it, there's another one which is called Golden Handshake, which is even better. Yep. And that has like retirement benefits included.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you get your payout and then you'd get retirement benefits as well.
Do you want to bring up the screen there? We'll break it down, because that's an interesting thing I had never heard of. Obviously, it won't apply to us, but for some of those big corporations, it's kind of an interesting proposition, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So a golden handshake is a stipulation in an employee agreement which states that the employer will provide a significant severance package if the employee loses their job. It is usually provided to top executives in the event that they lose employment because of retirement, layoffs, or for negligence.
Yes.
So the bigger the company, the bigger the handshake.
Yes.
So yeah, he's going to have to redo the entire business from the ground up, because it doesn't make any money. I don't think there's any real ads on there.
There's a lot of government tie-ins and things like that as well. I know that he's big on that free speech aspect, which is what he really wants to try and promote. And there's word about making people pay a subscription for their blue tick service as well, because he thinks all that is bull crap.
What do you mean?
So the blue tick service, right? So that blue tick certification.
Yep.
So a lot of times, a lot of it's just, people get it, some people don't get it. There's words that you have to pay for it or things like that.
Well,
so
what's the current? Let's take a look at the current requirements to get it, right? Your account must have a how to get a blue check, because I've always wanted one. It looks cool.
It does. It makes it look official.
Would you pay? Probably not, right? You can just start a request. Categories for verification. So to verify for a blue check currently, without the feed they're proposing, government account, news organization, company brand, organization, or like, I guess, personal brands, entertainment, sports, gaming, content creators, and influential individuals. So there's a bunch of prerequisites there.
Wow.
So he's trying to, I mean, the thing for the blue check is validity and to be recognized as a real person and a legitimate human on the platform.
It does. It ties into that whole social proof aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to start getting some revenue into the company, he's proposing an $8 monthly fee.
I think it was $8. Yeah, monthly fee to
just
keep that check.
automatically get it.
Yes.
To retain it, or to automatic, or for like someone like you or I to get it.
I think for someone, I think they would still have to go through their checks. You'd still have to be, I guess,
not a shit poster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, you'd have to have not influence, but I guess you'd have to be, I guess, open and transparent, and I guess that whole free speech aspect to it. I think, yeah, one of the articles I was reading, I think Stephen King got involved or something like that. So random that someone like Elon Musk, who started off with PayPal, got into the whole tech space and, you know, cars, batteries, like space and all that kind of thing, that he's such an influential cultural icon at the moment.
Cultural icon, but also progressing technology and the acceptance of new technologies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's, for someone, and usually the people, and like we all know that Elon is like so rich and massively rich and stuff, and a lot of these people are usually unobtainable. So you have people like Bill Gates and things like that. You don't see him, or maybe he does post memes, but
He doesn't post memes.
He does.
Is he busy? Does he?
Maybe. No.
Making up facts.
No,
Yep.
I think I was thinking of the one where he was that pregnant. I think that was
Elon Musk posted about him. Yeah, like
exactly.
Yep.
But a lot of people, like in Elon's position, doesn't even bother with social media whatsoever. But I think he knows where it's going to evolve to, and he's smart like that. Like that's why he ties into it. There's no one else really in his position doing the same thing.
So what I think the point of the $8 monthly fee is a few things, right? To create revenue for the company. He's laying off a gang of staff. Apparently, Rahul Ligma will stay on board. You probably get a job there, actually. All good. Everything's recording.
Yeah.
So we've got to cut costs. One thing's going to be to reduce the workforce that are, I guess, unnecessary in his eyes. And then you need to create some sort of revenue model, right? And there's not really a social media platform that charges for usage. But I was reading, I think LinkedIn does have a couple of premium payment options to unlock certain features and benefits, right?
Gotcha.
Let me Google LinkedIn price
Structure.
Price plans.
Price plans? But yeah, there aren't a lot of, the only other one that I can sort of think of is YouTube, but that's just to get access to other type of content. Like they do have a subscription sort of base, but Instagram, Facebook, places like that, they don't really have you need to pay us to use this platform.
Yeah. So LinkedIn has 4 membership tiers: career, business, sales, navigator core, and recruiter. So I think, have you ever used LinkedIn?
No, actually I haven't.
So it's just like a recruiting platform, more or less. There's you can do a lot of social media posts and stuff on there.
It's very business and corporate, right?
Yeah. If you want to employ someone or you want to link up with someone to do future business arrangements with, you can approach them and you basically have links to that person. So you're like 2 degrees away from someone because you know one person in the middle, and you can sort of branch out in terms of how many connections there are. You know the Kevin Bacon game, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that, but on LinkedIn. So you can link up with people that are like 1 or 2 connections away from you in your current position. But they must have a cap on the amount of people you can approach or types of services and activities you can do on the platform. So there's payment options, right? The cheapest one is $40 a month. So I was reading that LinkedIn is probably the most successful social media platform with a payment structure.
I see.
Facebook, Instagram's all free. We all know, what's that documentary on Netflix? The one about social media? Social Dilemma.
Yes.
And they talk about, if the platform is free, essentially you're what's on sale, your information, your data.
Yes.
So all these free apps that we use, we're essentially the pawn, and we get moved around. Our data gets sold off to different companies, this and that. I'm not saying it won't happen on an $8 Twitter plan, but I'm talking about payment, social media platforms that have a payment structure in place, right? So Twitter at $8 a month would be, I guess, probably the second social media platform behind LinkedIn, but obviously not as serious and academic and stuff like that. compared to LinkedIn. So the question then becomes, who is going to be willing to pay $8 and what do you get? Because again, he's doing it to generate revenue and stuff, but he's also doing it to filter out all these trolls and Russian bot accounts, all this sort of
100%.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. There's been a bunch of people that have proposed different versions of Twitter, like a completely free for all freedom of speech platform. You can say whatever you want. There's some more refined versions. But it'd be interesting to see who'd be willing to pay the $8 a month.
Yeah. It would be very, very interesting to see like how many people's careers are actually tied into that Twitter space and they actually can't afford to go elsewhere because that's where their following is, that's where their fan base is, especially if they're a writer. There's not many other platforms you can really go to. I think probably Substack is the other one that
and it's pretty linked in with Twitter as well anyway.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where that space goes. I have a feeling a lot of people will stay or go with it. It's just like when Instagram...
What do you mean,
they'll stay with Twitter and they'll probably pay for it because like imagine when ads got introduced to Instagram, everybody hated it to begin with. Now you're just used to it. So I think if they're going to introduce anything, people are going to be a little bit in the uproar to begin with, but then everyone's just going to adapt and just deal with it.
I don't think I'll pay for it.
But we never had it to begin with, so we're not missing out.
No, but if they open up to everybody,
oh yeah,
if there's like less requirements, like we've just seen a bunch of requirements to get in there, right? You probably need, X amount of posts, X amount of followers, that sort of thing. But if they just open up to anybody that's willing to pay the $8, would you pay?
I don't think I would pay, mainly because I'm a tight ass. But I can see if they do have that payment structure and it would almost put everybody on a level footing. So you won't have that much of a hierarchy in a way, like these very big, loud voices and people listen to they have a blue tick. But with, the common people being able to do it, I think it's going to put the platform much on a level playing field.
Yeah, it's kind of like a credibility check. If you read someone's post and you see that blue check, you just can add an extra 10% of credibility to their name because they've paid for it. They might still be a loony and might be posting crazy ranty stuff on there, but you know that they're a legit person because they're paying for the account and their account means something to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be, paying for it or like putting out dumb posts that are going to sacrifice their account. So $8 a month, it could generate millions and millions and millions.
Well, how many people are actually using the Twitter platform at the moment? I mean, it's hard to tell because there are a lot of bots and stuff on there. I know that was a big reason why he wanted to take over is to stop those, I guess just the false information going through. But is it possible to stop false information and false media and...
Not when you're laying off 50% of your staff. You need someone to check all that, right?
You do.
But I think that's his whole point is like let it... I see it being a few options, 2 or 3 versions. One that everyone's like not safe for work, like just everything is just crazy, and then some more refined ones, right? Or appropriate ones for like younger kids or whatever. Twitter has 396 million users and sees 206 million daily active users. So let's say 200 million, right? Mm-hmm. What percentage do you reckon would pay? 5?
I was about to say 10, but 5's better being conservative.
So that leaves us with about 10.3. So we'll just say 10 million, right? I think that's right.
And it's a monthly subscription, right? So it'd be 10 million per month.
Hang on. Let me do the math here.
Sorry, I'm bad at math.
206 million users per month.
Yes.
And we're going to reckon 5% or 10%?
We'll go 5%. We'll be conservative.
Times 0.05 means 10.3 million users.
Mm-hmm. Round that down to 10.
So 10 million users.
That would pay for that blue check.
2, 3. How many zeros are in 10? 1, 2, 3.
6
times $8 a month. So 8 million a month times 12 months.
Yep.
900.
Wait, didn't you say it was 10 million per month? Times 8 would be 8 million.
Fucking hell. 10. A lot of. I've never seen this many O's before, to be honest.
Yeah,
10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 million times $8 a month.
Yes.
It was 80 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You said 8 million. I was like, yeah.
Times 12 months. That's a lot of zeros here, people. 1, 2, 3. 960 million a year. So let's say a bill a year.
It's not bad revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just off of your subscription base.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could definitely save.
I guess ads and stuff will be introduced a bit more. You'll probably start seeing similar type of Facebook ads and whatnot on there. But yeah, that's what else has gone on with Twitter though? You had a few other articles there, but I guess the main thing was the layoffs, the potential new payment structure.
Yeah. And it'll just be interesting to see because Elon is known as you've got like, in Australia, it's a little bit different. Like we don't have that big, sorry, I know that was a bit out. We don't have that big divide. I mean, we've got our Liberal and we've got our Labor, but it seems like there's even more of a divide in America between like the woke and
left and right.
Yeah, left and right, I suppose. And he's known to be more right than left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see whether the left people will stay on the platform or try and make their own platform.
Well, there's not really anywhere to go.
Exactly.
There are some alternative platforms, but it's more for the right-wing type people, right? Truth Social, or I don't even know half of them, but I just heard other podcasts and stuff talking about them. There's heaps of options for the right, but not really the left. I don't think they're organized enough to put something together.
Well, it's a lot of humans, right? And a lot of humans with different opinions. And it just depends. Like you've got some, you've got those, like I said, you've got people that rely on Twitter. That's where they find their news. That's where they find their social interactions.
It is probably one of the most up-to-date news
100%. Like
sources.
If a big event happens, and you actually taught me this, like if a big event happens, go on Twitter first because that's probably where you're going to hear about it first.
But you also see a lot of shit.
Oh, of course.
Pardon me. So one option is to just go Google and hit news. It's going to be pretty curated. And
100% because it's Google.
Sorry, the gin's coming up.
The tonic.
It's the tonic, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really that reputable, and I'm imagining that a lot of these big news companies that Murdoch owns probably pay for their websites to get pushed to the top. So you're going to get quite a biased opinion potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But with Twitter, you get a lot of garbage as well. So this week, what's it do for Migos? Takeoff? Was it Takeoff that passed away?
Oh yeah, got was it shot in a bowling alley?
Yeah, rapper Takeoff from Migos shot dead in Houston at a bowling alley over a dice game, essentially. And as soon as that kind of information comes out, it's people in our generation that are talking about it. You just get so much garbage. There was so many people sharing videos of the incident.
Far out.
His uncle, like Quavo, the other guy in the group, I believe his uncle was like there at the time, and like he's distraught, going crazy. People were just flooding the real footage onto Twitter, which is not what you want to see. Some people want to see that, but you don't really want to see that. And even just the conversations around the topic is just, can just get real ugly from, people just like talking trash or having their own theories. And these sort of topics can spin out of control real fast, particularly on Twitter. Instagram, Facebook could probably spin out a bit, but there's like not really that many people having a discussion about that type of thing, and there's not really a news feed per se in Facebook. And then like we all know Instagram is just photo based and video based, but Twitter's where the ugly shit can come out of people, right? So having that blue check could potentially help rein that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the kind of news article that, like, there's a lot of misinformation is what I'm trying to say. And blue checks may or may not help that at the end of the day, because people are going to be people. They might pay the $8 and still throw up random ideas or theories, or there's nothing stopping you from still being a troll or a shit poster with a blue check.
It's true.
Which is kind of like Elon doesn't care at all. He just wants his $8 and he's just going to move on. So yeah, news on Twitter is probably the go-to place, right? But in saying that,
it's like taking with a grain of salt.
Yeah, just as much as like a normal, CNN article or New York Times or whatever else is going around, TMZ. It's all going to be a grain of salt. So it's kind of like we have to be our own filter for news these days.
Oh, 100. Well, like without a doubt, with like modern media, no matter what, if it's on TV or you're just scrolling through your phone, or I always take it with a grain of salt. And if I see something that's interesting, I'll tend to look it up to find a few other articles as well to get like different opinions. But yeah, 100%, we have to be our own filter. Like you hear whatever they say on TV, and it's just like, that doesn't sound right. Because it's at the end of the day, it's their opinions as well. Like those journalists or those hosts, what they're talking about is their opinion and their thoughts and their feelings most of the time.
Sometimes, yes. In the morning shows, in the morning ones, yes. In the evening ones, it's all from the head office. So the way I understand it, like Rupert Murdoch owns so many, I don't know which ones exactly, but so many newspapers, so many TV stations. And essentially, if they want to control a narrative, they just send the same talking points to the 12 different stations they own, and they all repeat it, not verbatim, but in a similar fashion to give out the same info in different wording across all these different platforms. So then you or the viewer or the reader starts to put the pieces together and believe the story or narrative that's being created from someone way, way, way up, right? There's even like when COVID was going around, probably still is going around, haven't really heard of anyone getting COVID lately. You can go on YouTube and stuff and see compilation videos of different news outlets in America, and they all basically have the exact same wording for the same article and giving the same spin on it. Even if it's right or wrong, it's all literally the exact same wording. Someone's just printed off a document, sent it everywhere, say 14-year-old shot, hate crime, and everyone has to run with it. It might not be the actual story or whatever it is, but the buzzwords are always similar. There's so many compilations you can go to and see that, you know, it's everyone's saying the same thing. So it's hard to decipher what's real and what's fake. And in this misinformation age, I think last episode we talked about TikTok and misinformation. Maybe we should just do misinformation podcast because we give out a lot of it ourselves, right?
We do.
So we should give a anecdote here or a caveat that we give out just as much bad info as what we're talking about right now.
We're not experts, everyone. We're just two human beings that can, you know, we're human, so human errors can happen. But we just talk about, our opinions and our thoughts on stuff. So whether we're wrong, feel free to correct us. Always happy for that. Always happy to learn and upskill.
That's the whole point, right? Pivot until you sound kind of right-ish. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Anything else on Twitter you want to touch on?
No, it's going to be interesting seeing what happens to the platform over the next couple of months and just the vibe and what happens, whether it's like with the Twitter company itself culturally, are those staff members that do end up staying around, what's going to happen to them? What's their going to be thoughts? Are they just going to be too scared to do anything?
Or they're just going to leave because they just see everything else not falling apart, but like changing of the guards, basically.
Yeah, because like you want to work for a company that you believe in, that you have the same thesis, you apply to it and you work within it. But just say if it changes managers or changes, owners and things like that, obviously there's going to be some changes. So does it still sit with you? Is that still the same company that you wanted to work for or did work for? Does it still have the same, ethos that you have that, attracted you to that in the first place?
That's right. Like you might lay off people that people might want to leave on top of that as like a mass exodus to show a stance against what's happening. But only time will tell. I think Twitter's one of those platforms that we've been meaning to like spend a lot more time on. We have our accounts and stuff, but we just never get around to posting on there, to be honest. And with TikTok and Instagram being so video based, there's nowhere else to really do text based posts or news based posts. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, I think we'll be on there. Won't be paying the $8 anytime soon. Unless you guys want we start a Patreon or something and someone can fund the $8 for us, that'd be nice.
Yeah, so we're official. The Look Mum Pod official.
Yeah, maybe with the pod. But yeah, any other Hustler news you wanted to bring up this week?
What was some other Hustler stuff?
We got Tay here. We got about 10 minutes left. We got Tay. We have we've done Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart. So Tay.
Yes.
Taylor Swift.
Far out. Like
probably the biggest gangster right now.
I know. She gets like a lot of shit, right? Like she gets like talked down quite a bit just because she's
has lots of boyfriends.
Well, apparently, like that's the whole thing, right? Apparently she has boyfriends that make songs about them, but there's like I think I was reading right. So probably about 5 years ago, she had like 115 songs in her catalog. Now she has like 200 and something. So she's literally doubled her song catalog in the last 5 years, which is like David Bowie status or things like that. There's not a lot of artists out there that have 200 plus songs, like a solo artist.
What was going on a year or two ago with she had to re-record half of the album or one of the albums because did you hear about that?
No, I don't think I remember.
So I'll see if I can pull it up real quick. Keep riffing on Taylor while you can.
I was just saying, but the main reason why I bring her up today is because she's completely taken over the top 10. Like the top 10 is full of all her songs. I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, she released her Midnight's album and she released, I think, like 7 different versions or something like that from memory. And a lot of her songs are on there as well, which is absolutely phenomenal for someone like Taylor Swift, who's been writing songs since she was, before a teenager, she's always been a songwriter. So it makes me think about that whole 10 hours
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours concept. Like she's been songwriting for this whole time.
Yep.
So she's able just to like get into that zone and get into that mode and just be creative and write songs.
It'd be interesting to see if she does write, because a lot of other people, a lot of other artists have professional singer-songwriters that do all the lyrics and stuff for them.
Exactly.
So Taylor Swift is re-recording her album so that she will own their masters. She'll own the masters, which is very important for like future royalties and stuff like that. She made the decision to re-record her albums after her former labels sold her back catalogue, leaving her no control over how the songs are used. So she has no control if they're in a restaurant or a cafe or ads and that sort of thing. But what's interesting this week is she made history.
Yeah, all her songs on that top 10 billboards. I don't even know if it's happened before, like having that one artist.
I think, was it Travis Scott had 9 of the top 10 songs on the billboard, maybe Drake perhaps. But yeah, Taylor Swift has taken the cake, swiftly taken over. Top 10 songs, all 10 songs in the billboard, she owns that spot, which is actually crazy. So I didn't realize she was so popular. No, she's popular, but I didn't realize she was like, I'm going to release one album, blow everyone else out of the water. But it's also interesting in this day and age, no one really has bangers from start to finish on the album. A lot of them are just like one-off singles. So potentially that's why. But I think with the re-recording and everything she's up to, there's just more hype around her releases. I think this one was released at midnight, right? That's what's called Midnights.
Midnight. Yeah. And then she's been like dropping other songs. I think there was like a 3 a.m. drop as well. And she released like 3 other songs. Like that is absolutely amazing. I love her taking control of it. And she's always been a forerunner of that. Remember when her songs were like on iTunes and Spotify and she wanted them all taken off? For someone so young, she's such like a forerunner for like making sure that artists get the money they're due. It's absolutely amazing that she's creating this sort of role model for people that want to make music or be, I guess, the owners of their own content. Imagine we didn't own our own videos or our own content. Like that would be...
It's the whole, like I've always loved Nipsey Hussle as someone I listened to when I was studying at uni. It's like 10 years almost. Fatally passed away and shot a year or two ago. Same as Takeoff, unfortunately. But his whole ethos was like, own your masters, own everything, own everything. That's why there's so many podcasters now that don't want to sign up to big labels and stuff like that, big multi-podcast networks. They want to just own everything, have all their own stuff. A lot of the comedians are putting their own specials onto YouTube now. They have full control. It's recording. It's fine.
Yeah.
You can hear it in the headphones.
Yeah.
But everyone, I think it's at the point now where like social media content creators and influencers know that the big businesses and record labels and stuff always generally screw over the artists and they never get a good deal. You hear about this time and time and time again. So it's good to see people taking things into their own hands. Good on Tay-Tay. Let's see if she can keep all those 10 number one spots next week and we'll report back next week. Well, maybe we'll listen to the album as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And there's a great Rolling Stones podcast episode really breaking down her albums and all her songs and stuff. So I really recommend that one. I'll put it in the show notes.
All right, awesome. Thanks guys for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.